I was looking back at this 26-game streak. I think it was 40 points Patrick Kane had, 16 goals. And I was looking at the end of that streak, the Blackhawks scored 20 goals in the last few games of that streak. He figured in 11 of them. Not many, I don't care how great you are. I don't think there's too many players who are a part of more than half of their team's offense over a several-week period. So just another part of the reason that we're sitting here with the MVP of the National Hockey League. Do you think your teammates got tired of talking about it? I mean, because everybody's going to run to you every day to ask about what's coming or what do you expect and stuff like that. I mean, does it become a burden in any way, do you think, on the other guys?
You know what, to be honest with you, I think everyone was pretty good about it. Even when, it got, past the franchise record and the American record, everyone was still rooting me on to try and get to the next player, whoever that was. I think Crosby was at 25 games, so they wanted to see me pass that. And then Matt Sundin was at 30 games, so they wanted me to pass that as well, which obviously didn't happen. But everyone was really supportive throughout the time. So I'm not sure if they were sick of talking about it or not, but from my viewpoint, everyone was really supportive during it towards me.
Yeah, well, hey, as it should be. As it should be. What are your expectations for the coming season? Obviously, you're going to have some different guys, but that's the way it works in the salary cap world. So hard to know right now what you've got, but have any inkling?
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I mean, you look at our defense. I mean, it's pretty impressive what we've done this offseason. Obviously, picking up Brian Campbell to come back, that's a huge pickup. It sounds like this Kepney guy, can really play as well. So our defense looks really strong. Obviously, we're going to have some young players step in and kind of fill some voids of guys like Andrew Shaw and Teravainen and things like that. But I think we'll be right there again. I think the biggest thing in the West is to try and make the playoffs, see what can happen after that. Obviously, we'd love to get home ice and play in front of the great fans all the time, but make the playoffs, see what can happen, and we'll see. But one of my favorite things on game day is to go out there for morning skate, kind of come off, and usually we have to talk to the media, and then after that, just kind of catching up with Eddie O and just asking him, I'm not even sure I'm allowed to say this, but just asking him for different tips on what he sees throughout a game and what he thinks I should do out there. And during that streak, I don't know if he was trying to give me some bad pointers or what, but it was, my game was kind of fading towards the end. So,
obviously, whatever I said, you didn't listen very well. I know that.
But yeah, he's a very smart hockey mind, and whether it's talking to him on the plane or in the locker room, guys like myself, and I know Dunks likes to talk to him as well, we can gather a lot of information just on things like the power play or how to move the puck in the offensive zone or what we can do to create more space, and those things are always in the back of your mind in a game. So, thank Eddie for all those pointers.
Anytime, buddy.
Back to the streak talk for a second. Certainly your teammates well aware of it, and obviously your coach was too. You mentioned the last game when it ended, and you kind of said you were fried at that point. But I think you had 24, 25 minutes, which for a forward is incredible. Coach Q, among your biggest fans, was going to do everything he could to get you on the ice every time you could still breathe, right?
Yeah, I think he's great at that stuff. Not many coaches will kind of think of individual records or stats or anything like that, but he was always, especially this year, seemed very into it and very supportive of everything that was going on. Even my last shift of that game against the Colorado Avalanche, where I didn't have a point, I came off the ice and just a subtle little tap on the back and just said, "Good job, Kaner." So he knows that stuff. We have meetings every 20 games, individual meetings, And after the 60th game this year, I came into the meeting. He said, "All right, we're going to try and get you to win the scoring title. We're going to try and get you to win MVP." You know, all this stuff heading into the last 20 games of the season, where you think you're kind of ramping up for playoffs. So for a coach to have that on his mind and understand, I think is pretty unbelievable. And you know that he wants the players to do well, and he wants to be part of it too. So you know, I thank Q a lot especially for this season. He put me in a lot of great situations, a lot of extra double shifting and extra shifts, which I think you know, really helped me. So he deserves a lot of credit as well.
Kane, a couple of folks want to know about your most memorable moment or achievement as a Blackhawk. How would you list your highlights as far as your best moments or achievements so far?
I mean, I think you gotta start with the 3 Stanley Cups. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, right? I think we all dream of, as kids that are playing hockey, you know, maybe one day getting a chance to score an overtime goal in the Stanley Cup final. And, you know, for that to come true for our first Stanley Cup for Blackhawks organization in 49 years was a pretty unbelievable moment in 2010. But you know, you keep winning, the next one got better and better. So, you know, hopefully we can do that again, but it doesn't get better than 3 cups right now.
Eddie Olczyk, who was the biggest and best practical joker on your team, other than you?
Yeah. I had a bunch of them. Played on a lot of teams. I don't know if that's good or bad, but well, former Blackhawk and assistant general manager Mark Bergevin was always one of those guys that was a practical joker. Jimmy McKenzie, former roommate with the Winnipeg Jets, big tough guy for a long time. He was into it, and you know, I'd like to have a little fun every once in a while myself, so I'd have to put myself on that short list for sure.
Well, you're old enough that back in the day, we flew commercial.
Yeah.
And so guys would fly to whatever city you're going to, and we wait by the baggage carousel for the bags to come out. And I know Bergie one time, and not with us, but Bergie is late, the luggage is coming out through the gate there, and here comes Bergie. He's laying down with a luggage tag on his nose. Can I ask you the John Cordick story?
The what?
Who was the guy in Toronto there? Cordy?
John Cordick?
Yeah.
The VCR one?
Yeah.
You want that one?
Well,
all right.
it's a story.
So playing in Toronto, and we had been in a situation where the games were getting a little out of hand, where the other team's tough guys were taking runs at some of our better players, and I happened to be one of those guys. So our coach, John Brophy, decided he was going to put our real tough guy up on my line, the top line, the number 1 line. And John Cordick, God rest his soul, I mean, he was tough as nails. He couldn't carry the puck in a pail, but he was tough. Like, I mean, he was tough. So the coach tells him, says, "Johnny, you're going to play with Eddie O in Screamin' tonight, Gary Lehman." And he's like all jacked up, you know. And he goes, Eddie O, yeah, I'm on your line tonight. I go, "Yeah, I know, Johnny." And he goes, "Set me up. I got a hot stick here." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Johnny, just go up and down your wall, and if anybody comes near me, I just want you to kick his ass, okay? That's all I want." He goes, "Okay, that's a deal, but I want something." I go, "What do you mean you want something?" He goes, "If somebody touches you, I'm going to kick their rear end in." I'm going, "Yeah, I like this." He goes, "But I want something." I'm like, "What do you want?" He goes, "What do you got?" I go, so I said, "You want money?" He goes, "Nah." I said, "You want a gift certificate for dinner?" "Nah." I said, "How about a VCR?" He goes, Yeah. VCR. I'm like, "Okay, so here's the deal. Somebody gets me tonight. You grab him. You're going to kick his rear end in, and then I give you VCR." He goes, Yeah, that's the deal. I'm like, so I had been player of the month for a couple of months, so they give you a Panasonic VCR as a gift. So I had about 3 or 4 of them. So I say to Johnny, I go, "You want a remote control?" He goes, Remote. So we play Minnesota that night. We go to the game. All of a sudden, we're in the corner, and some, I forget who it was, maybe Dave Richter or Larry DePalma. Some guy grabs me from behind, and I'm going, man, oh man, I can't wait because here comes Johnny, right? So all of a sudden, I hear, ah! Johnny grabs him. He beats him in the Monday. It wasn't even close. So we're picking up all of this stuff. We're going back. And if you ever saw a game at the old Maple Leaf Gardens, you could hear the people in the last row talking, having a conversation. I'm skating back to the bench, and the crowd is, kind of ending after the scrap. And he comes skating. He doesn't go to the penalty box. He comes skating by the bench where we're putting all of the, we're bringing everybody back to the players' bench, and all he's yelling is, VCR, radio, VCR! This is the NHL, right? So John Brophy, our coach, leans over. He goes, what's that all about? I go, not now. Don't worry about it. So here I am the next day, walking in with a VCR. Panasonic VCR, but I took the remote out, put it in my pocket. I gave him the remote. He breaks open the box like a 5-year-old at Christmas, like he's showing everybody the VCR. He yelled, and now I can see him getting mad. Eddie, where's the remote? I go, Johnny, take it easy. Here's the remote. Remote. So some guy tried to get me. He protected me. Kaner, you know what that's all about, huh?
That's right.
And don't be afraid to go out and buy a VCR today. So every time you hear VCR, you'll think of Johnny Kordick. So.
All right.
Hey, Pat, if I ever write a book, and yes, there'll be a lot of crayons for that book. I get it. I understand that. That might be one of the chapters in there with the VCR story.
So one of the questions here is, how has hockey changed from when Olczyk was playing and when Kane is playing now? We just heard one of those stories. But let's ask Eddie that. I'll tell you, I think I can talk pretty fast, and the speed of the game now, there's times I have trouble keeping up. These guys move the puck so quickly and are so adept at it. But from where, you've been on the ice in your time, and now what you're watching, the differences.
Yeah, the depth of the game is just incredible. Look, to play one game in a National Hockey League, I don't care what era it is. It's the best league in the world. The depth is much different. The speed of the game, as Pat had made mention, there's no question. I don't carry a goaltender's union card, but the goaltending is way better now than it was back in the day. There's no question about that. The equipment is better. And the players are in much better physical condition now than the players of my era, where there's no doubt. And when you put that all into the blender, there are very few players as the best in the game that's sitting up here to my right. And but it's a much different game. I think it's still a great game. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of the hardness there was maybe 25 years ago when Kaner was patrolling the old auditorium in Buffalo there, when he used to go there with his dad and playing shinny hockey out in the concourse there. But it's a different game without question. I think it's still entertaining, whether it was back in the 80s or 90s when I played, or getting a chance to watch right now. But I just think the totality of the player now, and there's a lot more depth in the game, which I think it makes great entertainment, because at the end of the day, that's what all you great fans pay your hard-earned money to do, is be entertained. And I know that you are that when you get a chance to head to United Center and watch the Blackhawks and watch the National Hockey League.
Near the end of the great Hall of Famer's Luc Robitaille's career, I was talking to him and asking him about differences from when he started to the way the game was then, and he said, to Eddie's point, he said, when I started, there were always a couple of defensemen on the other team you could waltz. You didn't have to worry too much about them. He says now there's just way more good players. Kaner, you're a kid in Buffalo watching the NHL, and just even as a fan there or on television, can you tell a difference from then to now?
It's probably a little bit harder for me to say, but obviously you see different highlights and clips, and like you said, I grew up in Buffalo there watching a lot of different games. When I was growing up and really into hockey, it was kind of like, the trap era, defensive era. So it was at that point in time, my favorite player on the Sabres was Dominic Hasek, and I was this goal scorer. My favorite player is a goalie, so he was one of those guys that just kind of, made unbelievable save or a couple unbelievable saves every night. So you just kind of look forward to that moment. But I think it's good the way the game has kind of opened up a little bit more. You talk about the speed of the game. I think just watching the finals this year with Pittsburgh and San Jose. I mean, Pittsburgh was so fast, and that's kind of where the game and the trend is heading in that direction to kind of take faster players, maybe instead of a bigger player, to try and make your team a little bit faster. And you see the teams that are doing that are having the most success. So I think it's a lot more on speed and skill and puck control now than maybe it was about size and toughness back then.
So there's a question here about what you have to do to maintain your form, and one thing we're both well aware of is that the workout regimen of these guys now is ridiculous compared to what was going on in the 80s and 90s. Eddie, when a season ended, when did you start getting ready for the next season physically?
Well, I always used to take about 6 weeks off after playing. I think I just carried that over from when I was a young kid growing up here. My dad always believed that it was good to get away from the game of hockey for a period of time, play other sports. I played a lot of baseball and felt that hunger. You weren't on that Ferris wheel for 24/7, 365 days a year of hockey. I think it's good to get away, put the puck and the skates away and the stick away for a period of time. And I kind of had that same mindset after the long season. I mean, Kane knows, and look, when you play 580 games in 4+ years, I mean, that it takes its toll, and it's important to get away from it. But doesn't mean you have to get on the ice. But now the guys take a few weeks off, and then they start their regimen of working out. And Paulie Goodman, the terrific strength and conditioning coach of the Blackhawks, has done an incredible job. Those are the people behind the scenes and Kane contestants. One thing I love about him, he has that great respect for the trainers, the guys that are the lifeline of a hockey player. I mean, they are. They're the greatest guys. They're underpaid. They don't complain. They just do their job. They know how important they are to the players, and the players hopefully take care of them. Pat and I talk a lot about how important those guys are. And Paulie does an incredible job of giving these guys their particular workout, their schedules over the course of the year. But I think it's really important to get away for the game for a period of time and just worry about other things, and then you can get into the workout room and get ready for the next season.
So, Kaner, how much time did you take off after the season ended? And when did you decide that hockey was it? I mean, did you ever play baseball, basketball, anything else? When did it become just hockey?
Yeah, I played pretty much everything growing up. My favorite sport besides hockey was basketball. Obviously didn't have the height for that sport, so just stuck
Power
with hockey.
forward.
But I love basketball. Being able, similar to hockey, just kind of control the ball and 5-on-5 game, cut into the hoop like you would cut to the net, different things like that. It was similar to me. Even to this day, I love watching it. But I was kind of opposite of Eddie, where I would play all year round hockey, and that's just that was kind of my childhood growing up. That's what I love to do, and it wasn't like I was getting away from anything or anything like that. I just love to play. But nowadays you play so many games, you kind of learn how to I guess prepare a little bit better, and like Eddie said, just kind of get that excitement and that fire burning in your stomach again to try and get back on the ice and be excited when you do. So we probably take 3 or 4 weeks off after the season. maybe a month, and then we start training again. I think we just finished up our 5th week of training. Haven't been on the ice yet. Probably won't get on the ice until, maybe early August or mid-August. That comes from the coaching staff. Actually, they want us to stay away from the ice, and like I said, just get that excitement back. And when you do get back on the ice, be excited to work on your skills and be back out there and do something you love. So I've kind of learned that as time has went on, because early in my career, I would jump right back on the ice when I would get home with my buddies or any ice time I could have. But you realize it's good to get away from the game for a little bit, and especially when you have a little bit of a longer summer, like you said, enjoy some other things and get away from hockey.
It's a hard question to ask. You'll never admit you were ever tired, but with all the success you had and all the finals appearances and playing all those games, all those years, I mean, did you ever get mentally tired as much as physically? And look, nobody wants a longer summer, but at the end of the day, heading into next season, it may be beneficial, no?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think when you lose out, I mean, that's probably the one thing we were all saying to each other was the one positive coming out from this season is that we're going to get a longer summer and we're going to have some rest to get away from the game and come back stronger next season. So, and obviously, last season we've heard of teams that are struggling to repeat after winning a Stanley Cup, and it hasn't happened since I think the Red Wings in the late '90s. So. We wanted to be a team that was able to do that. I don't think we were ever really tired. I think, we got caught in a situation where we got in a hole against St. Louis, down 3-1, made a great turnaround in that series to try and make a comeback. And then, they have Game 7 in their building, and anything can happen in Game 7. We came up on the short end of the stick, but it would have been fun to see what could have happened to our team if we won that round, got a little confidence for some players that were new to our team, and never really been in the playoffs before, but didn't work out that way. Like you said, we got this long off season to kind of regroup, refresh ourselves, and get ready for the next upcoming season. And really coming into this year now, there's no excuses of being tired or even having that talk about being mentally fatigued or even physically fatigued. So I think we're all feeling good, and we're ready to get back at it here in a little while.
Hey, and let's not forget, Patrick Kane will be participating in the World Cup of Hockey for Team USA as well.
Both of you guys have proudly played for Team USA regularly. Does the World Cup mean as much as the Olympics?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, the attention that's going to be around this tournament is going to be unbelievable. It's going to be in Toronto, the hockey hotbed and then that's the first time in I don't know how many years the games are going to be on ESPN as well. So there's going to be a lot of attention around this tournament. I think you talk about being refreshed and re-energized. All these players are going to be coming off the summer where you're not going to be tired from traveling. You're not going to be tired from playing the first half of the season. I think for a lot of us, it's going to be the best hockey we'll ever play. And, you hear stories about, the U.S. winning the '96 World Cup and how great that was for USA Hockey, how special that was. So you kind of want to follow in those footsteps. We've been close here the past couple times, especially at the Olympics in 2010 and 2014. We started off hot, ran into Canada in the semifinals, lost a tough 1-0 game. So we kind of have a chance to redeem ourselves here. And for a lot of us, we were considered a young team back in 2010. So we're in our prime now, and we really have to prove ourselves to the world that USA Hockey can compete with the Canadas and the Russias on a yearly basis. So it's a big opportunity for us at USA Hockey. I think we're all excited about it, and what an opportunity that's going to be, just playing in the World Cup of Hockey. So I think we all view it as big as the Olympics for sure.
All right, we have one more question here from one of our great fans. Chuck from Skokie wants to know from Eddie Olczyk, what was the hardest hit you ever delivered? Now, I think I know the answer to that. It's when he bumped into Troy Murray in the parking lot one time, but...
I know the hardest hit I ever took.
That was the follow-up.
I rather take that one than the other one. I got hit by a defenseman, old defenseman for the New York Islanders, guy by the name of Dave Langevin. He was about 6'5", 212, a big dude. Troy Murray made a pass up to me. I got over to the blue line. If Troy would have skated a little harder, I wouldn't have looked back to wonder where Troy was. And what they tell you not to do is to watch your pass. Well, what did I do? I watched my pass. I dropped it, waited. I saw Langevin there, and then I looked, and all of a sudden, he just hit me. I hit my head on the ice. I was out at the old Chicago Stadium. Our old trainer, Skip Thayer, came onto the ice. He said, "Hey, kid, you all right?" I said, yeah, Skip, I'm all right. I'm okay. He goes, "You want to go to the bench?" I said, yeah. He goes, "No, you are?" I said, yeah, practice. "Why are all these people at our practice?" And he said, I won't tell you what he said, but get him out of here. So I'm thankful that Skippy took me down the old Chicago Stadium, and I was out for a few days. But yeah, that was the hardest hit I ever took, was Dave Langevin. So to answer the first question, I don't think I ever hit anybody. How's that? Is that what Chuck from Skokie must? I lived in Niles. That's close to Skokie. I mean.
All right, well, listen, hope you have a great time at the convention this weekend. Thanks for coming out this morning. And how about it for our panelists today, the U.S. Hockey Hall of Famer Eddie Olczyk and the MVP of the league, Patrick Kane.